Alrighty, hey there everybody. Welcome to this week's live training session. Hopefully you're all doing well. I'm having to use my headset and microphone today, so hopefully you guys can hear me. My wireless headphones for some reason did not charge last night, so we're making do with this. But anyway, hopefully your week's off to a good start. Can't believe it's already Thursday. We're closing in on the end of the week, and it's already December. I mean, this is just crazy. We're flying by the rest of this year. So today we're going to be focusing on something that I think is very important, but often people sort of forget that is important, and that is fruit. So for you, most people, you've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? However, fruit often gets a bad rap because of the fact that it's high in sugar. Compared to like vegetables and other things, but obviously not like candy and other desserts, but fruit is high in sugar. So that's why a lot of people are like, well, trying to avoid fruit. But fruit actually has many, many, many benefits. And that's what we're going to be getting into today as far as why you should be consuming more fruit, because most Americans don't get enough. So, what is fruit exactly? Well, when we're talking about fruit that would fall into the fruit group of the My Plate plan, that would be any fruit or 100% fruit juice. That would count towards fruit. And fruit can be fresh, which obviously is great. It can be frozen, which I find incredibly helpful because that way, if there's certain things that you enjoy that are out of season, if it's frozen, you can always enjoy it. It can be canned, it can be dried or dehydrated. A couple things you have to be careful with these last two options is canned. You have to make sure if you're going to buy it, it's packed in water. Sometimes they pack it in sweet syrup, and obviously that defeats the whole purpose of having fruit. And then with dried or dehydrated, that's where sometimes the nutritious part of the fruit value is gone and you're left with a lot of the sugar left behind. And since it is in volume less, typically we can eat more of that than you realize because it's a smaller volume than if you actually had the fruit before it was dried or dehydrated. So you just have to be careful because often you can overeat. A good example of this is raisins versus eating grapes. Obviously, if you eat grapes, you're going to feel fuller quicker because there's just more volume. Versus if you eat raisins, you're more likely to eat more raisins to get the same fullness effect. But at that point, you're going to be taking in well above what the recommended serving is. So that's just part of keeping in mind as far as when you're consuming fruit. Obviously, the variety of ways you can consume it, but just a couple of things to keep in mind as far as, how you're consuming it. And then another thing with fruit is you can obviously have it whole, like an apple. You can eat an apple whole. You can cut it up. You can puree it because obviously it comes in the form of applesauce, or you can actually cook it. First thing that comes to mind obviously is apple pie. Probably not the best way to go if you're trying to get your fruit intake because I have all the sugar and other ingredients added to it. But you can do baked apples and there's other things like that. And at least half of your recommended fruit should come from whole fruit, because that is more nutritious than like juice, 100% juice. And that's the other big thing with fruit juices. Many of them are not 100% fruit juice. So you have to be careful. Look at the labels. That's always the key thing. And so when we're talking about fruits, there's so many different kinds of fruits. I think there's actually over 2,000 different kinds of fruits. So it's hard to imagine, which ones you should actually be eating. The big thing here is you want variety. You want as much color in your diet as possible when it comes to fruit because each color provides different nutrients. And so that's some key things to keep there. As far as fruits go, they're naturally low in sodium, fat, calories, and none have cholesterol. So in a way, these are actually really, really, really good for you because of all those benefits. And the whole big thing is that they have obviously many nutrients in them, especially vitamins and minerals that most of us don't get in our diet because we don't consume enough fruit, and there's no other way to get some of these as plentiful as you can with fruit, such as potassium, dietary fiber, vitamin C, and folate are big ones. And if you get more of these in your diet, it actually helps reduce your risk of heart disease, so it lowers your chances of heart attacks and strokes. The dietary fiber from fruit. This is the key thing of why eating fruit is so important. Yes, fruit has sugar, but it also has fiber. And that is what is important when you're consuming fruit compared to like candy or cakes or anything like that. They usually don't have that fiber. They have the sugar, but they don't have the fiber. And this is where fruit is different and fruit is so important, is because of the fact that with the fiber, your body actually processes it differently. And that is so important because it helps with bowel function. It helps get everything through, and that when your bowel function is well, that usually means that you've got lower risk of cancers and all sorts of other things. So that's a great component of fruit that many people often forget or don't know exists. Another big thing, which a lot of people are sort of aware of, is the antioxidants that are in fruit. And these are essential for health because of the fact they help get rid of free radicals that are in our body, which we know are bad because those can cause cell damage. It can result in cancers, all those things. So this is where having fruit is so, so important because it provides you all these benefits. The key thing is just being aware of, variety that you want to get. So, next big question you're probably wondering is, well, how much fruit should you be eating, right? And that really depends on your age, your gender, your height, weight, and the level of physical activity you have. And obviously for women, they have the added, as far as if they're pregnant or breastfeeding, they usually need more fruit intake than they do if they're not. So typically for toddlers, they need about a half to a cup of fruit per day. For children who are about 2 to 4, it's 1 to 1.5 cups. For kids 5 to 8, it's 1 to 2 cups. And then it starts to break off into the gender. So for girls who are 9 to 13 and 14 to 18, they both need 1.5 to 2 cups a day. For boys 9 to 13, they need 1.5 to 2 cups. But if for the 14 to 18-year-old boys, they need 2 to 2.5 cups. So for adult women, for the most part, unless they're pregnant or breastfeeding, they need 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit per day. For adult men 19 to 59, they need 2 to 2.5 cups. And then for men 60 and over, they need 2 cups of fruit per day. And so, while that's great, now you know how much intake you should be taking in. The next thing is, well, what does that equate to when you're talking about actual fruit? So, for instance, 1 cup of fruit for an apple would be 1 small or half of a large apple. So that right there is great, obviously, because, apples are easy to take for snacks and stuff like that. So applesauce, it's 1 cup of applesauce. For bananas, 1 large banana would equate to a cup of fruit, or 2/3 a cup of a mashed banana. If you like blueberries, which these are great, 1 cup, literally a cup of fresh or frozen. Cantaloupe, it's same thing, it's 1 cup full. Dates, that'd be about 10 dates if you eat those. If you like figs, 5 fresh figs are good. Grapes would be about 22 seedless grapes. Grapefruit is 1 medium grapefruit is equal to 1 cup. If you like guava, that would be 3 guavas. If you like kiwi, that's about 2 to 3 kiwis. For mango, that's 7 slices or chunks, and that can either be fresh or frozen. And we're going to dive into more detail here as far as what each one has as relation to the nutrients and all that in just a moment. Just wanted to finish going over the amounts here. For oranges, it's 1 large orange. If you like papaya, it's 1 small papaya. For peach, it's 1 large peach. Pears, it's a medium pear. Pineapple, it's once again measured in cups. It can, if you're cutting it in chunks or something like that. Plums, it's either 3 medium or 2 large plums. Strawberries, it's about 8 large strawberries is equal to a cup. Watermelon, it's 1 small wedge or slice. And then for dried fruits, it's usually half a cup. And this is because of the fact that once you're taking fruit and drying it, you're removing the volume, which is usually the water. And so what's getting left behind is the sugar. And yes, there's some nutrients, unfortunately, in the drying process. Some of the nutrients also get removed. So this is why it's less. If to equal a cup of fruit in serving, you only need a half a cup of any type of dried fruit. When it comes to fruit juices, remember the key here, it has to be 100% fruit juice. It can't be a blend or anything made from concentrate. And that's literally just a cup of that. So now let's take a look at different fruits as far as the different nutrient benefits that they provide. So for lemons and limes are very similar here. They both provide great sources of vitamin C. And they have other antioxidants like flavonoids that are supposed to be helpful with obviously antibacterial anti-cancer, anti-diabetic properties, so those are important. They also contain thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, and folic acid, so a bunch of B vitamins there, and vitamin A. And they also have a little bit of potassium and pectin, which are also very important for your diet. So when it comes to strawberries, these are great because they have a high water content. So that's super important. And they also have high fiber, and this is thanks to their seeds. So this is helpful, obviously, in helping keep your digestive system on track. They contain anthocyanins, which are flavonoids that help boost heart health. They also contain the flavonoid quercetin, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. And they have potassium. They also have a bunch of B vitamins, vitamin K, which is also really important. And they have a low glycemic index. So what this means, it won't significantly affect your blood sugar levels. So for diabetics, this is incredibly important. So then we have oranges, which, I mean, who doesn't love oranges? I know there's some people who don't, but I'm not a fan of the pulp. But I can eat oranges. I just don't like pulp in my orange juice. I am weird like that. It's a texture thing. But I do know that they have a great source of vitamin C, so making sure that I get that in is always a helpful thing. And obviously, vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. It helps with numerous things like your immune function and absorbing iron from other plant-based food. So oranges contain high levels of pectin, which is a type of fiber. So it helps keep your colon healthy by binding to chemicals that can cause cancer and removing them. So pectin is incredibly important, obviously, because of that right there. The oranges also have vitamin A and plenty of B vitamins of thiamine and folate. So all of these are important for different things as far as your nervous system, your reproductive system, and helping create red blood cells in your body. So all of it's important for that. The next is grapefruit, which obviously it's another citrus, so it's very similar to oranges, lemons, and limes. So it has the flavonoids that have the anti-cancer properties, anti-inflammatory properties, and stuff like that. It also has a different type of compound that helps protect against oxidative stress in tumors and supports healthy bones. So grapefruits are a great source of not only vitamin C and other things, but other important compounds as well. So blackberries are very similar to strawberries in that they have anthocyanins in them. And they also have seeds. So they're high in fiber, so they can help with gut health and your heart health. As we were talking about before, apples are great but in order to get the best and most benefit from them, you need to eat the skin as well, because there's a lot of nutrients in the skin that if you don't eat the skin, you end up missing out on. So they're high in fiber, they're high in pectin, they're a great source of vitamin C and plant polyphenols, which are disease-fighting compounds that are found in plants. They have high levels of quercetin, which is the one that has anti-cancer properties. So, and numerous studies have found that people who eat at least an apple a day are less likely to be obese and have issues with diabetes and heart disease. So apples are really great. So the saying an apple a day keeps the doctor away is actually pretty accurate. Then we have pomegranate, which is considered to be a superfood by many because it's high in antioxidants and polyphenols. But it also has seeds, so you've got the fiber benefit there. It's got vitamin K, which is essential for obviously strong bones and healthy blood cells. You've got, and there's some thoughts because of the polyphenols, how high it is, it actually might protect against some brain-related diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. They're still doing ongoing research with this, but so far the results are very promising on it. Next, we have pineapple. This is one of my favorites. I love pineapple. And it helps reduce inflammation and promote healthy tissue growth. They contain an active compound called bromelain, and that is very important for those anti-inflammatory properties and such. It also contains manganese, which the body uses to help build bone and tissue. So pineapple is great for many things. So make sure, and the nice thing is many supermarkets actually offer it cut up, or my favorite option is frozen, because then I can have it whenever I want. It's usually pre-cut, and I can take out just however many little cubes that I want. My other favorite, and I usually have at least one, if not two, of these a day, is bananas. And especially due to my exercise activity level, I found if I don't eat the bananas because of their potassium concentration, then I end up with leg cramps. So bananas are also incredibly important because of the potassium, because that helps control your blood pressure and heart rate. So potassium is key for that. They're also high in prebiotics, which is a type of fiber that promotes the beneficial bacteria in your gut health. So it helps them grow. So that's always good. And it's important to note here there's a difference. You can actually eat green, unripe bananas and then ripe bananas, and both provide different benefits. So for the green, unripe bananas, this is where they're higher in resistant starches than ripe ones. So this makes them a good source of dietary fiber, the pectin. Ripe bananas, on the other hand, they're an excellent source of an easily digested carb. So they are great to fuel up on before a workout, because this is your body will be able to use those carbs, those beneficial carbs, sugars that your body needs for the workout. It's great because it's obviously not a large meal, so you're not stuffed, but you get the benefit of having those carbs that help fuel your workout. And then something that most people don't necessarily think of as a fruit is avocado. And avocados are great because they're rich in oleic acid, which is a monounsaturated fat, and this helps lower your cholesterol levels. And they're also rich in potassium. They contain lutein, which is an antioxidant that's important for your eyes and skin. They also contain folate, vitamin A, beta carotene, they're, besides being high in healthy fats, they're low in natural sugars. And they are higher in calories than most other fruits, but studies have linked them to better weight management. And the reason for this is because of the high fat and fiber content. It helps promote fullness, so you're less likely to overeat, essentially. And this is what is so key with, when you're trying to maintain weight, lose weight. It's about being, full, but also having the right nutrients. So then we have blueberries, which also contain anthocyanin, and which is the powerful antioxidant that helps with protecting against heart disease, stroke, and other diseases. And they also contain several other compounds that help prevent plaque from collecting in your arteries. So blueberries are great. Dragon fruit has fiber, iron, magnesium, vitamin C and E. They also contain carotenoids, such as lycopene and beta carotene, so they're great for your vision and other things like that. Mangoes are also considered to be a huge superfruit, and this is because they're excellent sources of potassium, folate, fiber, vitamins A, C, B6, E, and K. So, right there, mangoes have a lot going for them. They're also rich in many different types of polyphenols. So they have antioxidant properties, they have anti-inflammatory properties. They're high in another type of potent antioxidant called mangophorin, which might protect your body against certain diseases like diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, all sorts of different things. Research is ongoing on that, but mangoes are great. They also contain a lot of fiber, so you have to be careful when eating mangoes, because if you eat too much and your body's not used to it, you can end up having to go to the bathroom a lot. So just be careful there. Lychee, which is also great. It's a great source of vitamin C, potassium, fiber, many different polyphenols, including certain things like gallic acid, chlorogenic acid, catechins, and caffeic acid. So all of these are important. So lychee is another great source. Cherries, I love cherries. They're a great source of fiber and potassium. Once again, they have a lot of antioxidants, such as anthocyanins and several others. But the cool thing about cherries is they're also great sources of serotonin, tryptophan, and melatonin. So they help with your mood and sleep. So cherries are great. Another thing that's similar to avocados that many people don't realize technically is a fruit are olives. They are great sources of vitamin E, copper, and monounsaturated fat, the oleic acid. And they're also rich in plant polyphenols. So this means they have great anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. And if you think of the concept of the Mediterranean diet, they feature olives a lot. So after seeing what's in them, you can see why. Watermelon, they are great sources of antioxidants as well, but they also have vitamins A and C, beta carotene, and lycopene in them. And it's a good source of potassium and magnesium. And the nice thing about watermelon, it's got a high water content. So this is also great. So between the water and the potassium in watermelons, they make a great snack that can help hydrate and replenish electrolytes after a workout or like on a hot summer day when you've been sweating a lot. So that's why watermelons are a great summer fruit. Kiwi is high in vitamin C and a great source of fiber, potassium, folate, and vitamin E, carotenoids such as lutein, beta carotene, and so all of this helps promote good digestion and gut health, especially due to the fact it's got soluble and insoluble fiber. So kiwi is really good as far as helping regulate if you're constipated. So definitely, if you need it, seek out kiwi. Kiwi can be beneficial. And then we have peaches. Peaches are great for potassium, fiber, vitamins A, C, and E. They also contain multiple different carotenoids. And the key thing here is this peach skin of peaches actually contains higher amounts of antioxidants compared to some other fruits. So this is great, obviously, when we're trying to fight free radicals. Then you have guava. Guava is a fantastic source of vitamin C. It also contains some of the highest amounts of lycopene compared to other lycopene-rich foods like tomatoes, watermelon, and grapefruit. And it has other antioxidants like beta-carotene and various flavonoids. And grapes are great because they're also high in potassium and vitamin K. So there's many different plant compounds in grapes, but it's important to note to get the highest antioxidants content, you want to stick to the red and purple grapes. They have more due to their coloring and pigmentation, the anthocyanins, than white grapes. Tangerines, it's obviously a citrus type fruit. The flavonoids in them help protect against metabolic syndrome, which if you aren't familiar with that is when you have high fasting blood sugar, you have high triglyceride levels, and high blood pressure, which basically is the triple threat for having heart disease and strokes and obesity and diabetes and all these other things. So you really don't want to have metabolic syndrome. Also, a compound in the peel of tangerines halts the activity and enzymes that incite the growth of cancer cells. So that's pretty important too. So then we talk about dried plums, which most of us know as prunes. And these are incredibly bone friendly, especially for postmenopausal women, because it's thought that they may have an effect on the hormones as far as estrogen levels and stuff like that. So if you need to, prunes are a great source for that. And then we have cranberries, which are high in the antioxidants, proanthocyanidins, and they can help the activity of bacteria that cause dental cavities. So cranberries are great. The key thing with these is you want to opt for the whole fruit, not the jellied variety kind that is so popular in the holidays. I like cranberries either way. I know some people, they're a little bitter, but cranberries are really good, especially if you can get the whole ones or fresh ones. Fresh cranberries are great. And then last but not least, we have pears. So those are full of fiber. So pears are great for that. They're probably one of the top sources of fiber when it comes to fruit. Usually they have about 5.5 grams of fiber in one medium pear, which that's pretty high. It's about 20% of your daily intake that you should be getting in. So that was a quick summary of all the different types of fruits, how much you should be having. Hopefully you guys found it helpful, and if you have questions, comments, please put them below. Message me, email me. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have specific topics you want me to talk about, that'd be great. Let me know. I'd love to address any concerns you guys have or discuss things that you're interested in. But otherwise, thank you for joining me today. Make sure you're going and getting your full servings of fruit. Obviously, it's incredibly beneficial and it's very important to have. So whether it's an apple, it's a banana, it's a pear, whatever it is, go grab something and have it today with your lunch, your dinner, or for a snack. But otherwise, until next week, you guys stay healthy, and I'll see you then.